All right, we are recording. So, welcome you guys to week 3 of your new Coach University call. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Kirsten Jones, and I have actually been a coach for about 5.5 years. And since I started coaching, I have run challenge groups every single month of my business. So today, that is what we are going to talk about. We are going to talk about challenge groups. So challenge groups are really, really important because they are the bread and butter of your business. Now, some of you, some of you maybe have never been part of a challenge group, but most of you probably started your journey as a challenger. So I want to make sure that, I have some calls to action for you when we get off this call. But today I really want you to think about your experience as a challenger. And so I'm just going to kind of go through why they're important, the logistics of running them. And I'm going to leave some time for questions because I know that a lot of you have questions. Can you give me a thumbs up? Can you guys all hear me okay? Are we good? Okay. All right, good. If you can't hear me, you can unmute yourself and let me know. And if you want to type anything, if you have any questions throughout, you can type them in the chat bar too, okay? All right, so if you guys could kind of if you know how to do like the show of hands, how many of you guys are going to be running a group with someone else, or how many of you guys are going to be running a challenge group with someone else? Like, have you already started inviting to it and have some challengers? How many of you guys? Anybody? Do you guys have challengers yet? You can absolutely, I just started my first one today. Great, Debbie. Okay, I just want to kind of see where we are on the no challengers yet, just started today. Okay. All right, so you're in your week 3, and this is typically what we teach, is that we're teaching you to invite to this day. So today is April 16th, right? So maybe you didn't get any of your any challengers for your group right now. That's okay. What you need to do though is you need to always have a date for a challenge group that you're inviting to. Okay. So those of you that let's say you had this date and it came and went, and that's okay. That totally happens. Believe me, it's happened to me multiple times in my career as a coach, where I have had a challenge group planned out and I've invited to the challenge group and I just didn't get anybody to pull the trigger on that date. So I just pushed it out a couple weeks. Okay. So you just pick a new date and you start working towards that date. But I want you guys to remember, like, the biggest thing that you take away from this call, if you forget everything, is that you always have a challenge group date that you are inviting to, because your customers and your prospects need urgency, because it will be so easy for them to continue to just push it off and push it off and push it off. They need urgency. So you need to have a date that you're inviting to. Okay. So I just want to kind of go through some of the logistics. I encourage you guys to co-run challenge groups. We are a team, and it makes the challenge group so much more fun when you have more than one coach in there. It takes the workload off of your plate. So I encourage you to reach up to your upline and ask them when they're running their next challenge group, and ask them if you can be a coach, like almost an apprentice, if this is your first one ever, to running your own challenge group. If you have new coaches on your team already, then you can start asking them to run it with you, because I feel like 2 heads, 3 heads are better than one. And a lot of times we have different energy that we can bring to the challenge group. And again, it kind of just divides the workload a little bit. So that's one of my biggest things. And honestly, it's just more fun. So talk to your upline. that's your first step. You guys are kind of all you're in a different place. Some of you are doing them right now, and some of you don't have anybody for them, and that's okay. But if you don't have any challengers right now because you want to get your customers in April, schedule your next challenge group for 2 weeks from today. So that would look like April 30th would be your first day. So this is typically, now let me start by saying this. One thing is, get excited about challenge groups, because this is where you get to shine in terms of creating your own business to look the way that matches you and your personality and your creativity. So remember this, you can't do it wrong, okay? Your challenge groups will never be wrong. So don't, what's the word? I don't want to put a double negative, but don't not do a challenge group because you're like, I don't know what to do, or I won't be perfect at this. I won't be the perfect coach. Here's what I can tell you. Your customers have no idea. They have no idea what a challenge group looks like. And I promise you that the challenge group that I run, and the challenge group that Melanie runs, and the challenge group that someone else in our team runs, they look different because our personalities are different. And what we like to do is kind of give you a skeleton of how to do it, and then you get to make it your own. So to some of you, that might be really cool. Like, yes, I can take ownership. And to some of you, that might be really scary, right? Because you're like, I don't know. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about your experience thus far in a challenge group. And I want you to, and will be your call to action later, but I want you to make notes of everything that you loved about the challenge group. What was it that helped you through the challenge? What was it that inspired you? What was it that made it fun? What little things that you found in your challenge group did you love? And I want you to make an extensive list about that, okay? And then the other thing is, I want you to think about the things that maybe you didn't love, or the things that you struggled with, and make that list. And then the last thing I want you to make a list of is, what did you feel like you were missing? Did you feel like you needed more one-on-one time with your coach? Did you feel like maybe it got boring, or did you feel like you needed more recipe help or more meal planning help? Because this is how you're going to kind of start to put yours together, and how you're going to construct your own challenge group in order to help your customers. So we do have challenge group guides that you can absolutely follow. And you're going to find this not only in our team pages, but you're also going to find this in the Coach Online Office. So I promise you guys, you will never have a shortage of resources, okay? So let me real quick do a screen share so you guys all know where to find your challenge group guides in the Coach Online Office. Now, these are going to be a little bit more generic, but it will give you an idea of exactly how you want to put yours together in terms of like a skeleton. Because again, you want to bring your voice to it, because your customers, they're signing up to work with you. So you want them to hear your voice in all of your posts and all of your check-ins. Okay. So, all right. So you're going to go to, you're going to sign into your back office, Coach Online Office. Hold on one second. Do a screen share. Okay. It's not what I want you to see, but, all right. Are you guys can you guys see that? Can you give me like you guys see that? Okay, cool. All right. So this is your Grow My Business. So you're in your Coach Online Office or your Coach Office. You're going to click on Challenge Group Tools. And this is everything that you need. I would highly encourage you guys to read through all of this. Okay. So this is the tracker. It teaches you how to do this. Now it's optional whether you want to do a tracker, the challenge tracker, or if you want to run through Facebook. And that's going to kind of be determined more than likely from your upline. So talk to your upline, and you can click on challenge group guides. And when you click on that, it takes you right to the program. So you can just click on the program, 80-Day Obsession, and it will tell you exactly how to get started with your challengers. Okay? So this is something that you can absolutely 100% go by. So you are going to, okay, stop share. So you're going to use that's how you access your challenge group guides. There's also, and I will share with you guys in the, hold on one second. Let me find it. I will share with you a group that's called Script Swap. And it's somebody in our team that made this page. I will share the link so you can request to join. And basically, it's just a bunch of different challenge group scripts that you can, hold on a second. All right, I'm going to post the link. There's the Facebook group. That's the Script Swap. So those are scripts that you can use. So the Coach Online Office has all of the scripts that are group focused, like fitness program focused. And maybe some of you guys are having like a mix of challengers. Maybe some are doing 80-Day Obsession and some are doing a different group. Or you can create a theme behind it. Maybe you want to do a group that's focused on like more of like a mindset, like a loving yourself group. Like you can go to that Script Swap and you can get some ideas from there. But here's the bottom line. Here's what you're going to be posting every single day in your challenge group. The first week of your challenge group is going to be preseason week. So your focus here is on everything that you want to do to help your customer prep. And all of these details are in those challenge group guides in the Coach Online Office. But you're prepping your challengers. You want to make sure they know how to make your Shakeology. I would encourage you guys to make a video of you yourself making your Shakeology. If you read the back of the Shakeology bag, it says to mix with water and to just shake it. So if they just follow those directions, they're just going to shake it up. And the chances are, especially if they aren't someone that has been eating clean, they're not going to like it, because Shakeology and water not blended, just shaken up, is very earthy tasting to someone who doesn't have, who's been eating a lot of artificial and processed foods. So we all know that it tastes amazing, right, when it's blended. So whether you make it with water or almond milk, banana, peanut butter, I always, mine is the same. Typically, I do banana, peanut butter, almond milk, and a ton of ice. I like mine thick. So I literally set up a camera or my cell phone, and I made a YouTube video. I made a video, edited it, uploaded it to YouTube. And if you need help with this, reach out to your upline. They'll absolutely teach you how to do this. And you can make, and you can just upload it to YouTube, and then there's a link there, and you can send that to all of your new customers and say, this is exactly how I make my Shakeology. Now, the cool thing is when they get their Shakeology, it actually comes with a handout that shows them what they can add to it. But if you don't have that video, it's okay. It's just a great tool to keep on hand. I use it every single time I have a new customer. So it's worth the 10 minutes to make it. But you want to have a conversation with them. Make sure they know how to make their Shakeology. That's all happening in that first week of your challenge group. You want to make sure that they do their before pictures and their measurements. Now remember, again, as I'm teaching you all of this, this is your business. So you get to decide how you want to run your business. But what I have found in my experience is that you need to take ownership and take control of the challenge group. Your people signed up with you because you said that you would help them. And so part of that is them following your rules. And one of the rules that I require is that my customers have to send me their measurements and a before picture. Now, I explained to them that they don't have to send me a before picture in a bathing suit or a bra and underwear. It doesn't have to be like that. I think a lot of people think that's the way it has to be. I don't care if they're in a t-shirt or whatever, but they have to take those pictures, because every single person that has never taken pictures in my groups, and this wasn't something I required early on, I wish that it was, has regretted it, because the pictures don't lie, okay? This also gives them another layer of accountability, because now they have to show you and be accountable to them. Now, I do nothing with the picture. It goes into a folder, and I'm not posting it. I'm not doing anything with it. I just am giving them that layer of accountability that they need, okay? So I recommend that you require this of your challengers. And if they do it, I promise you, they will thank you later. So that's happening in the first week. They're taking their measurements, they're taking their before pictures. You're going to focus heavily on nutrition. Okay. And you want to also make sure that they understand how to access everything, right? So this is like your week of housekeeping, making sure if they have Beachbody On Demand, do they know how to get to Beachbody On Demand? Do they know, have they read through entirely their nutrition plans and their fitness guides? This is another thing that I make sure as soon as they get access to their account, whether they ordered a DVD program and it came in the mail, or they're on Beachbody On Demand, they need to go in there and they need to read through that, because figuring out what column they're in for their containers is a big piece of preparing them for the nutrition side of the program. So the nutritional piece is where your customers are going to struggle the most, because the fitness is easy in terms of just getting the calendar, looking at it, and pressing play. So depending on what program, in terms of fitness, making sure they have all the equipment that they need, talking to them about finding a space. So the first week is really a prep of everything. And if you've been a challenger before, then you remember this and you went through this. So it's preparing your kitchen. It's preparing your mindset. It's getting other people on board. It's a great time to get maybe some last minute referrals in there. In that week, I usually let my last order happen on the very first day of my challenge group. So if this was your challenge group today, then my last order is on today, because we do that week of preseason. Okay. So again, remember too, that this is your business and you can run your group however you want. There's no wrong way. So if you want to do a week of preseason and 4 weeks of a challenge group, that's okay. A lot of coaches do every single month. So they do 1 week of preseason, 3 weeks of a challenge group, and then they roll them into the next one and they open a whole new group. Now you can keep an ongoing group if you want and continue to do it that way, but you always want to make sure that your customers have a preseason. So we have a really big team in here, okay? And you guys are all from different teams. So I do encourage you to reach out to your upline and kind of ask him or her how they run things, because you can do them off of their system. But I also encourage you guys to reach out to each other, your teammates in here that are on this journey with you, and start pairing up and doing this together. But it's going to take you some time to just feel the rhythm of your challenge groups. But if you follow this skeleton schedule, you'll do amazing. So you have that week of preseason, making sure your customers understand their meal plans. You're posting your own personal meal plans. You can go to the file section of the Dream Team, and there's lots of resources in there in reference to challenge groups. You can go right to Beachbody On Demand, and you can pull recipes and meal plans right from there. Clean Week is a great place to get an organized meal plan for your customers if you don't have one put together. But I encourage you to be a challenger with them the whole time. So your customers are not going to do anything that you wouldn't do. So you can't ask them to do something that you wouldn't do. So if you're asking them to share their meal plan, you need to be creating a meal plan and sharing it. If you're asking them to check in every single day, then you want to be checking in every single day. So through this process of running challenge groups, you also want to be a challenger the whole time. And as you are a challenger, it's only going to make your business grow because it's going to keep you accountable. It's going to have you following another program. It's going to have you be able to share more and more of your own success right along with your challengers. And it will help you to build coaches right from your challenge groups, because your best coaches are going to come from your challenge groups. But it starts here. So you've gone through preseason week. Everybody's prepped and everybody is ready to go. So you're going to have that official kickoff day one. Again, your people all may be doing different programs. That's okay. What we typically do is have a morning check-in. So you want to schedule posts in the morning and do something throughout the day and then have an evening check-in. Okay. Now, if you're using the Challenge Tracker app, they can check in their Shakeology and they can check in their workouts right on the app. And then you can do your posts on there. So again, this is going to be kind of dependent on what team you're on and what you're used to. Some people use the Challenge Tracker app and some people use Facebook. Feel free, again, at the end of the call, you guys will leave time for questions. Feel free to ask me any questions about those things. Now, I real quick want to show you, I'm going to do another screen share and show you how to schedule posts if you don't know how to do this already. Okay, so this is my group. Hold on one second. There we go. Okay, so this is my group right now. We're doing kind of a pineapple theme and we're focusing on the Girl Wash Your Face personal development. So this is what we're focusing on right now. So what you can do, if you see right here, so tomorrow is my day to post. So I'll say, good morning. Let's post those sweaty selfies below. So every morning at 5:30, I'm scheduling a post and I have a picture that goes with it, but for time purposes. So down here, you can see schedule posts. You're going to click on that. I'll click on tomorrow morning, the 17th. Actually, my post is for Wednesday. And then I click the time, 5:30 a.m. schedule. So that post will come up in my group at 5:30. So I encourage you guys to schedule your posts because it's going to save you a lot of time. But scheduling your posts does not mean that you're not going to check in. Okay. So you're running a business. So you want to make sure, and this has probably already been talked about, but you need to set business hours for yourself. And part of setting business hours is when you're going to check into your challenge groups. So don't feel like with your challenge groups that you have to be available 24/7, because you absolutely don't have to be. But you do want to make it a point to check into your challenge groups at least twice a day. And I'd recommend once, maybe late afternoon, mid-afternoon, and then once in the evening. That way, you're posting and commenting on every single person's post. So you want to make sure you're liking and commenting on what all of your customers are posting. And then you yourself are being a product of the product. So you can absolutely do your sweaty selfie in the morning. And then you want to rate yourself in the evening as well. How did you do in the evening? So you're doing these check-ins. You're posting every single day. And you yourself are being an active challenger. So you want to make sure too that you're staying on top of your customers that you've put in that challenge group. So if you have a customer that goes quiet, absolutely message them behind the scenes and say, listen, I see you're quiet. Is everything okay? Is there something that I can help you with? and make sure that they know that even if they're not perfect, that they're still part of the group. They're still part of the community. Okay. So a good plan of action too, something that I like to do is on Mondays, I like to check in with all of my customers and just kind of message them and ask them, how did their weekend go? How did they do last week? You can pick a day of the week, but just give them that one-on-one support to make sure they know that you're there for them and that you can help them. Sometimes people go a little bit quiet in the challenge groups because they feel like they're not doing as well as somebody else, because we love to play that comparison game. So it's a really good idea to always make sure that that relationship and that communication is stayed open. You have open lines of communication between them. So the live video feature is a great feature to use if you feel like there's a theme happening in terms of struggles, or week 2 in our challenge groups is typically the week that everybody freaks out about the scale, because the scale, they've been eating clean for 2 weeks and they haven't lost 10 pounds. Like, this is just normal psychological stuff that happens, and you'll start to see this as you coach. It actually is very normal. You'll start to see patterns. So using the live video feature is a great feature to address that and get on there and say, hey, listen, I see a lot of us posting a ton about the scale. The scale is definitely only one tool to measure. And I want you guys to know that, your body can change. You can retain fluid. It isn't going to, it doesn't define you, and it doesn't define your level of success in the group. So you want to address that. Live videos are great for that. Okay. So those are kind of the skeleton, if you will, of challenge groups. Okay. You do a week of preseason, then you do your check-ins and your sweaty selfies every day, and you post something inspirational, educational, recipe, whatever throughout the day. Now, here's what I want to give you guys. Don't feel overwhelmed with these ideas, but here's what I want to do is I want to just kind of give you some ideas that have really worked for me and in my groups, so that when you are starting to create your groups, you can implement some of them. You can try them. You can see if they work with your people. You don't have to use them or not, but it's a really good idea to just try different things in order to help your customers to be successful. So I want you guys to take away from this call that there is no wrong way to do this. The best way to have the most successful challengers with results is to 100% support them and give them all the tools that you have. Now, that doesn't mean that every single person is going to have success or stick with it. And you have to be okay with that, okay? It's not your fault if someone doesn't get the results. You can only lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So know in your soul and in the bottom of your gut that you did everything you possibly could to give them the resources they needed and to help them along the way, but you can't make them do it. You can't exercise for them. You can't eat for them, but you can show them how to be successful. You can guarantee them results, because we can with our 100% money back guarantee, but you can't do it for them. So the biggest thing you want to remember with your challenge groups is that you set those expectations up front. Okay. Tell them 100% guaranteed with the results, but you can't do the work for them and you can't eat for them. Tell them that you will be available to them and checking into your groups every single day, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be available 24/7. Okay. Don't become a slave to your challenge groups. But if you set that expectation, you won't be. And I say that because I made this mistake in the beginning. I felt like every time someone commented, I had to be there. I had to comment right back. And I felt like all I was doing was spending all of this time in my challenge groups, because running your challenge groups is only part of the business, right? We're also spending time prospecting and bringing on new coaches and teaching new coaches and finding new customers for our next challenge group. So use those business hours and set a timer, say, okay, I have my challenge group check-in right now for 15 minutes. I'm going to check in. I'm going to comment on everybody's stuff. And then before you go to bed or in the evening, if you're working business hours, it's always good to do in the evening so you can see everybody's check-ins. Again, checking in again, rating your own day, and then commenting on everybody that posted. And that's it. You don't have to live in your challenge group, but you do need to be in there every single day. And you yourself need to be an active participant. So you have to be excited, okay? If you are excited in your groups, your challengers are going to be excited. If you're excited about talking about your challenge groups, your prospects, the people that are following you on social media, they're going to be excited too. So here are just a list of things, just different ideas that you can do in your challenge groups. So one thing to think about when you're running a challenge group is, how can I groom these people to become coaches and do what I'm doing? And when I say groom, I mean, how can I push them out of their comfort zone so that when I invite them to the coaching opportunity, it doesn't feel so scary? And here's what I mean by that. One thing that we've done in our groups that's worked is we've done weekly Zoom calls. So you can do a call with your challenge group on a weekly basis. We've done like a kickoff call. So you can do just a super fun celebratory, we're kicking it off tomorrow, get everybody excited, get on the call, get everybody that's running the group on the call. This is the Sunday night before your official kickoff. So you've already done your preseason. It's a time for them to start to ask questions. It's a time for them to get excited. And then you can do question and answer calls. So, and they don't have to be, it can be any time of the week. You can do like a lunch hour, you talk to your challengers and see what their lifestyle is and when they're available. But you can do these question and answer calls. This way they're getting comfortable with Zoom, because look what happens. You go into a Coach University and then you get to be on Zoom. And so now they're already comfortable with that. That's one thing. And then the other thing is they get to know you better. So, and they get connected with people in the challenge group. So it starts to form the community, because that's what you guys want to do. You want to create this community. So that's one thing that we've done that's worked really well, is the weekly Zoom calls. We've also done through Zoom. And if you guys can create a free Zoom account. I want to make sure that you all know that. So you have a Zoom account to be on here, but you can host your own calls right through this account. You just have to schedule a meeting and an ID will pop up, and you send that ID and you invite your customers to that meeting. So you have 45 minutes of a free conference call. So you can absolutely do that. The other thing that we've done is we've done live workouts together. So we'll meet on Zoom. We've done like a Saturday morning, 6 a.m. workout. We've done like holiday workouts, like a 7 a.m. Thanksgiving workout. So we just have everybody meet together on Zoom, and we all press play to our own workout at home, but we're working out together. So we do a little prep talk, get excited, check in. And then after our workout, we do a sweaty selfie, like a group sweaty selfie. And we'll do a little pep talk at the end, just to kind of, everybody's hyped up and just high five each other virtually. So again, it's creating that community. It's creating that sense of accountability. It's exciting. And then you're sharing that on you're sharing that on Facebook or on your Instagram account or whatever social media you use. And people start to see that community developing. Another thing that's worked really, really well is we've partnered our challengers up within the group. So if you're running a group and it's a bigger group, it's a really good idea to break people into like pods. And so what we did is we formed like 3-person pods. We had a pretty big group. I was running it with like 3 or 4 other coaches. And then we put them on a group message, and we just had them text each other or group message each other. and said, like, these are your people. You're going to stay accountable. So what happened is new friendships formed, and then they started texting each other and keeping each other accountable to their workouts and their nutrition plans separate from the group. Again, creating that bond of community. And then we would do fitness challenges that were related to these, the pods. So as a team, they had to do a plank challenge together, take pictures, create a collage, and post it. Again, creating that community there. Adding a personal development book into your challenge group is great. Again, thinking about what we do as coaches, right? We read personal development every single day, and it's so good for people. So the 5-second rule is a great personal development book for challenge groups. Girl Wash Your Face. For if you have mostly ladies in your group, that's definitely geared towards women. That's a really, really good book. Made to Crave is another good challenge group book. The Slight Edge is another good challenge group book. So if you need help with like wondering what kind of book would be good, You're a Badass is another good challenge group book. So getting your customers to start doing personal development, it's great because they're starting to transform their mental process too, right? Because that's part of it. That's part of the transformation that happens. And again, that's what we do as coaches. So as your challengers are doing this, it's really easy to segue in, hey, do you want to learn more about the coaching opportunity? You're kind of already doing it. So going live, make sure that you're going live in the groups. I encourage you to have your challengers go live. A great way for them to do that, in that preseason week, you'll see that in the challenge group guides, it talks about introductions. So have your customers go live in the Facebook group to do their introductions. Now you're going to get total pushback from this because they're going to be scared. But I would encourage them and talk to them about this is your first move out of your comfort zone. And you're going to be moving them continually out of their comfort zone throughout the group. But when they do it and they realize that they didn't die, they'll be more apt to do more things out of their comfort zone. So having them go live in there, encouraging that. Make your challenge groups fun. If your challenge group is boring, if you're bored in your challenge group, they're bored too. Okay? And there's a number of ways that you can do this. You can have them do fun, different challenges. You can do like posting GIFs are always like really funny. You know, people are always enjoying that, laughing at that. You know, bringing humor into it, bringing competition into it, bringing prizes into it. If you want to do a point system, some people have done that. So again, you can create a point system based on some coaching behaviors. So for instance, you could create a point system every time you share on your Facebook wall something about the challenge group, you get 10 points. Every time you go live in the group, you get 30 points. Every time you join one of our Zoom meetings, you get 40 points, something like that. So you're teaching them and getting them out of their comfort zone. So when you talk to them about the coaching opportunity, it's kind of a no-brainer. What was the other thing I was going to say? Make sure that you're sharing within the challenge group about our other products too. I'm sure a ton of you use Energize. Well, talk to your challengers about that. Explain that to them. Listen, this is like my mommy go-go juice. This is the only way I get my workouts done first thing in the morning is with this lovely yellow powder, right? And so talk to them about that. Make sure you're constantly talking about Shakeology. Have them share what results they're seeing. Talk to them about the performance line. Introduce the snack bars. Introduce these other products that we have for them so that they can see. Remember, this is your challengers are your captive audience, okay? You are the expert. They came to you because they wanted help. So take ownership to that and say, yes, I'm the expert and here's what I learned. You can't be afraid to share things with your customers because you're afraid that they're going to think that you're selling them, right? But if you think about it, when you go, let's say when you go to the hairdresser, right? And the hairdresser does your hair and she puts this special, leave-in conditioner, and she puts the special hairspray, and your hair looks amazing, right? Do you feel completely sold when the hairdresser is like, listen, these are the products that I used. I just want you to know if you would be interested in purchasing them. It's like, no, tell me what you're using. Why does my hair look so shiny? Like, I want to know. So it's the same thing with your customers. Listen, these are other products that we have that are going to enhance your results or help you to push play or help you in your muscle recovery. Your customers want to know about that. So you want to be sharing about those things. And in the challenge group guides that you use in the Coach Online Office, that stuff is there. And they do outline that stuff in sharing it with your customers. But the overall goal of your challenge groups is to get your customers results. You want them to be following their meal plan. You want them to be pushing play. You want them to be checking in every day. So your job is to be their cheerleader, to be their support system, to be their best friend, to be their accountability partner. Remember, you can't do it for them. You can give them all the resources. And don't be afraid to say, I don't know. Don't be afraid to say, you know what? I've never had that happen to one of my customers before. Let me go back to my team and just talk to them about if anybody else has had this experience. Okay? Because there's going to be things that come up. For instance, maybe someone can't handle Shakeology in the first week. Like they're getting stomach cramps or they're super gassy or they're not going to the bathroom. Like that's normal. And I know that's normal just because I've been doing this a long time. So you have to tell them to, ease into Shakeology, for example. You're going to have customers that are going to come to you and say, like, I've been 100% perfect and I gained 2 pounds. That happens. It's normal. Your body retains water. Your muscles start to change. You may have customers that say, I did everything and it's not working. Pretty much they're probably lying because we've seen the results and we know that these results are 100% so guaranteed. And you know that as a coach that you know that the results happen based on these are all expert created programs. So they're not telling you something. So I would push back on them and say, okay, why don't you track all of your food intake and send it to me and then I can work with you? Or why don't you, journaling is the best thing. You have to have them take ownership to it. So you're helping them to get results. And again, just setting those expectations that I'm going to check in every single day. You'll get a message from me weekly. The best thing that you can do though is to just stay in contact with your customers because your best customers are going to turn into your best referrals and they're going to turn into your best coaches. So many times we think that, okay, we got the Success Club points. We're just going to throw them in this challenge group and then we're going to focus on next month because now we have to get our Success Club for the next month. Don't leave those customers behind. Okay. This is why you're doing this. These Success Club points, there's people behind them. And you want to help them get results. And then you help them 100% the best that you can. And if they give up on themselves, it's okay. It's not you. But you always make sure that your customers know they have a place to come. So even if my customers do fall off the wagon or they get really quiet, I do tell them, listen, life must be getting hard. I haven't heard from you. I've messaged you a few times. Know that my door is always open. Know that you're always welcome in my groups. And when you're ready, I'm ready to help you. Because over this journey, I cannot tell you how many times I've had customers come and go. I mean, years. I'm telling you, years later. They've been a customer 4 years ago. They kind of did their own thing and they need to get back on track. Or now they're ready. And then they come and join my group. I don't ever turn them away. And I just encourage them. That's all you can do. You can't do it for others. But if you are acting as a friend, as a coach, as a cheerleader, as a support system, if you're leading by example and you're connecting them to the resources, you will have customers that have results. So I think that's pretty much all I had in terms of ideas. The national wake-up call, I think it was within the past month, there was a challenge group call, I think. So make sure that when you're seeing different people talking about the way they do challenge groups, absolutely join in on those calls. because everybody does it a little different, and you don't have to do everything the way that your coach does or the way I'm teaching, but you can just pull little nuggets and then create your own. The other thing is, and if you guys have any questions, so you can unmute yourself or you can type in the chat bar any questions. I want to make sure that I answer all the questions you guys have. We have a few minutes left. But I do encourage you guys to take ownership as quick as possible to your challenge groups. Meaning, if your upline coach is, lets you join his or hers, that's great, but don't always be the fly on the wall. Don't always be the apprentice. The faster that you get your wings and take ownership to your challenge groups, the faster success you'll have, because you'll have confidence inviting to them. You'll have confidence in inviting to the coaching opportunity, and then you'll have confidence in, running your own with your own team. So the faster that you take ownership, the faster your business will grow. And that's something that I found with my team. My team that has taken in the challenge groups and run with it are the ones that grow their business the fastest. No questions? You guys don't have any questions? Did I totally overload you with a ton of information, like too much challenge group information? Now you don't even know how to run one. I didn't want to do that, but I like to have a lot of different ideas, and all of these ideas I've gathered over the years. When I first started coaching, my challenge groups used to be 3 months long. Could you imagine 90 days? But that was when like P90X3 came out, and we did 3-month challenge groups. The first month would always be really good. And then by like day 60, everybody was like, is anybody out there? What was the Facebook page you mentioned for challenge group? I posted, it's Script Swap. If you scroll up in the chat, click on that and just ask to join. And there is, that was created by somebody on the Dream Team. So there's just a number. It's a great place for free group ideas too. Scripts for free groups. So if you go in the file section of that group, there's a 21-day fix, fit and fab for the fall, spring fling, summer slim down, made to crave was a personal development book with the challenge group, Dirty 30, sugar detox, 30 days of gratitude. There's a stress and anxiety one. So you can start to theme your groups, and that always makes it fun. So one thing that we did in the fall was we started to do these pineapple groups. Now, it sounds really silly, but we were like, okay, we're going to do pineapple. Like we just called it a pineapple challenge. And that's how we talked about it on Facebook. And we were so excited about our pineapple challenge. It didn't really say anything about health and fitness, and people were totally curious about it. So when you create these themes, it makes it fun. There is a page, if you guys aren't, there is a Beachbody Champions page. Hopefully most of you guys know about that. You can join that as a coach. I will put the link for that too. Every single week, there are trainings on the Beachbody Champions page. And I actually, okay, knowing about the back office challenge group info is great. I never knew about that, so I'll definitely start there. Yes. I've just put the Beachbody Champions page. Let me answer these other questions that are there. There is a girl, gosh. Hold on a second. Let me get the resource for you. I'm like a personal development nerd. So I like to write down anywhere that I can look for resources. 1 second. Oh, Kelsey Smith. If you go in the Champions page and you search for Kelsey Smith, she did a presentation on challenge groups. And she did one about the way she does it. And she runs hers really unique with different themes. And it was kind of like the pineapple idea. Like she did a Friends theme one. She did a Survivor one. She did a Harry Potter one. And it was just exciting and fun, and it matched her personality. So that's what I was saying at the beginning of the call. It's really fun to run the groups because it's your business. Like, you get to do whatever you want. You can set up weekly one-on-one calls. You can have them fill out forms every single week to make sure they're like writing their goals and review them. You can kind of make it however you want. How many people should you start out with? So I would get a group of at least 5. So if you only have 2 or 3 people, then definitely pair with someone. Now, I've done it both ways. I've done challenge groups where we've had 10 people. I've done challenge groups where we've had 100 people. So you just kind of have to get a feel. What I have found is about 10 to 20% of people participate, no matter what the number is. So I find that a happy medium is like around 20 to 30 people. If you're running that with multiple coaches. Now, I don't have 20 customers that I bring into the business every month. I do have challengers that repeat, that stay on Shakeology, because that's your goal. You want to keep your Shakeology retention. So you want to make sure your customers, checking in with them, are they liking Shakeology? Do they know how to make it? That's why one of our check-ins with the challenge group is, did they drink their shake or not? Oh, that's one other thing that I didn't really chat with you guys about. So this is what I personally do with my business, is I require Shakeology in order to be part of my group. Now, this is your business, so you get to decide. But here's what we have found as seasoned coaches, is that if someone is not investing in themselves, then I don't want to invest in them. Because if they're not making an investment in themselves, then chances are they're not going to invest into the group and into themselves, into making a change. And I am here to help them, but I want to know that they have skin in the game. Okay. So maybe for you, Shakeology isn't going to be a requirement, but I highly recommend there be some kind of buy-in. Because if they're not doing Beachbody on demand, if they're not doing you can do the performance line instead of Shakeology if someone wants to do that. But I have just found that they need to have some level of investment, because it's like anything. If you do it for free, chances are you're not going to stick with it because you don't have any skin in the game. So that's something that I do require, and most coaches do require that. But again, this is completely up to you. Now, I know some coaches have let challengers in. Let's say they have Beachbody On Demand, or they have a fitness program. They've let them in for 30 days. And then in the next group, you can do my group for 30 days. And if you don't, use Shakeology, then, you have a 30-day window. And then if you want to do another group, because what happens is if most people in there are drinking Shakeology, they're seeing it, and then they're seeing the results. So, but you want to speak from experience, and maybe your coach let you do a challenge group without doing Shakeology. I don't know. It's a little bit, like I said, everybody runs their business a little bit different. Melanie will tell you that she did her first challenge group and she didn't do Shakeology, and she borrowed Insanity. So she put no skin in the game, and her coach let her in. And, we all wish we had Melanie Mitro under us, right? So you have to kind of be a good judge of that. I mean, you can just kind of tell people that just want like the free handout. And then you can kind of tell the people that really want to do it maybe, but they just can't afford it at the moment. You can always bring the coaching opportunity to them and say, we'll find 3 friends, and then your shake would be paid for. But again, I just feel like in my experience, my customers that use Shakeology always get better results. And you guys know that. And I want them to invest in themselves. So I tell them, listen, if you hired me as a plumber to come to your house and fix your toilet, I wouldn't show up to your house without my tools, right? These are my tools to help you. I'm not, and you can say that, like, listen, I'm not an expert. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a personal trainer. I am someone that loves the products and know that they work. So I listen to what the experts have created and what they have told me to do. And these are the tools that I'm going to bring to you to help you have success. I don't know how to help you have success if you don't use these tools. Does that make sense? So it's not like, you're actually looking out for them. Like, you have their best interests at heart, but you're also putting your time and energy into them. So you want to be compensated, but you also want to know that they're going to invest so that they're going to work towards getting those results, right? You don't go to the dentist and just say, can you clean my teeth for free? Like, it's a service. Like, you're paying for a service. So that's part of their service that they're getting from you. The other thing too is if you don't require it, it's very easy as a new coach to, as soon as you have an objection to it, because you're going to get objections to Shakeology. As soon as you have an objection to it, you're just going to say, okay, but you need to uncover. An objection is really just a need for more information. They don't understand what it is or the value that they're getting. And so you want to get really good at handling those objections. So remember, your call to action is to make a list of all the things that you loved about the challenge group that you were part of. Make a list of the things that you felt like was missing or you wished you had more of, and make a list of the things that you would do different in terms of like what your coach did, or what your opportunity or what your experience was, what you would change. It's great to ask for feedback after every single group, and make sure that you plan it out. So you're going to sit down and you're going to brainstorm. Don't be reactive with your challenge groups. Make sure you have a plan in place and you always have that date. Again, if you don't take anything else away from this call, I want you guys to remember that you always have a challenge group date. So you always have something to invite to. Okay? All right, guys, it's 1:00, so I don't want to keep you any longer, but if you have any more questions, I hope this was helpful for you. And make sure you have that date set. If you don't, go back to your upline or check into the team page and ask if anybody wants to partner up and do a group together. And every single month, just get in the habit of running a new group every single month, because you'll always have customers and people, and it'll make your inviting so much easier when you have something to invite to. All right, guys. Well, enjoy your Monday. Thank you so much for getting on the call. It was fun to be here and to share my passion. I love challenge groups. It truly is the bread and butter of our business. All right, guys. Have a good one.